What's up, Rockstars? Today I'm going to be talking about Kingdoms Forlorn by Into the Unknown. Now, this Kickstarter is going to be out into the future. It's not ready yet. However, I got the deets now, so I'm going to share them with you. Let's get started. As always, I'd like to first thank my patrons and YouTube members. It is through their financial support that much of this channel is possible. The lighting, the camera, the sound, all of it is thanks to them, and I thank them very much for it. When I say I'm independent and honest, I mean it. I don't back down. I say my opinion, and that's what you get, good or bad. And so I do appreciate the support of the people and not these game devs. I don't rely on them to do this. I rely on you guys. I want to thank you for that. But even if you can't do that, of course, there's a merch link down below, just a like button, a comment saying that you found this video helpful or enjoyable or entertaining or anything like that goes a long, long ways, and I'm incredibly thankful for it. So thank you for being here, and let's go ahead and dive right into it. Alright, now I have some notes here that I might be glancing at every now and then, but that's just because I want to make sure I get all of the information right. But as always, I'm not doing a script right now. I'm just talking to you exactly how I feel. There's no, it's not going to read like an ad. It's just me talking to you about this game. So first of all, we have the logo here. It looks super cool. It's got like a sword through Forlorn and like an infinity symbol through the kingdoms and Forlorn. I don't know what the infinity symbol means though, but I'm sure it's relevant. What I can tell you is that you're going to be playing as these different knights. So you're going to be a knight. Now, I personally love knights, but you're going to be picking these different knights that you're going to go through. And essentially there's these various kingdoms that have been inaccessible and unknown because they were cursed. But that curse has been waning. We don't know why that curse has been waning, but either way, with that curse gone, we can start actually going into it. So this takes place around kind of the Middle Ages, kind of a European-centric thing, but of course, there's some where it's almost like, a little bit earlier and some where it's almost like Dark Ages. So it just kind of depends. It's definitely a fantasy setting though. But either way, you're these knights that are going into these kingdoms that are unknown and discovering them and, delving into them. We'll talk about delving a little bit in a second, but, there are actually several kingdoms. In fact, you've seen two. So you've seen, I want to make sure I get this right. The Gloom Archipelago. Sure, I'm saying that wrong. I think that's this one. And then the Principality of Stone, which is where this one would come from. So you can see here that they are fantastical. It's kind of interesting that obviously people lived here. Obviously people had to build this. And so, but obviously it's not been dealt with in a while. You can see the kind of the water level and the grime building up on that and towers leaning and stuff like that. So this has definitely seen better days. And in fact, even this castle looks like there's some collapsed parts here. It looks largely uninhabited. Or is it? We don't know. We'll have to delve into that and find out. Now, there is a bit of wackiness involved in this too. For instance, you have the Egg Knight. I love his little eyes. I think that's great. You're going to see miniatures in this game that you have not seen before that are just completely unique. There's nothing else like that on the market. I'm pretty much guarantee you that. Super unique character there. And then you have stuff like Sir Sanche, who has a monkey on his hat. He looks very almost like, French conquistador, kind of like, you can see they all have sculpted bases, kind of, different poses. So he's just kind of lumbering there, right? Maybe a little bit more boring, but he's resting his hand on his sword and looking up, holding his hat, and his monkey's pointing, lips pursed. He's definitely calling out that he's seeing something. Either way, very unique miniatures. This is not something I've ever seen before, and we're just getting started. However, they're not all goofy or all weird or all, they're all unique. Okay, so for instance, we have the Rinholder here, and he looks super cool, I think. He's got this fully gauntleted hand, but he still has, like, the fire coming out. He has this cool knight face mask still, holding his, like, pike or whatever that is, or spear, all the way up at the guard here, but then he's wearing a hat with his armor. Just super unique. He's got his sword, like, down on his leg, and then he also has a book. I want to know more, like any of these characters, I want to know more about them. I want to know more about this guy or this guy or this guy. And in fact, I want to know why they're fighting this guy. So this is the Panzer Dragon. And I know you guys have seen the art. I've teased the art before. Here is the sculpted miniature. And oh my gosh, would you look at that? He is super cool. He's like fully armored. Like he's even got an armored eye. which is obviously like man-made or something like that. He's got like the chain there. He's got like a weaponized tail he is meant for killing. That is very obvious. Extremely long tongue that's curled up, snarling definitely, all the skills you could want on a dragon with the tattered wings and all that kind of stuff. But again, it's like a dragon, but unique. It's got, again, this armor and the tail. The sculpted base is used well to actually pose the miniature so they're not just standing straight like they have to be on a flat one. He's kind of clawing over there, neck turned, tail obviously going outside the base. This is a cool model. Now, I've shown you the art. I teased that a long time ago, but now you can see the sculpted miniature. And as you can see, he is cool. Now, why you're fighting a Panzer Dragon, why it's called a Panzer Dragon, I don't know. I don't know why this guy is fighting this guy. But I'm looking forward to find out. Now, the reason that these characters are all so interesting is for a reason that I'm going to be talking about at the end of the video. So we'll get to that. Now, I'd like to actually talk about what's the same. Now, you are not getting the Triskelion. Okay, so don't worry about that. However, you are going to be getting an inverted combat paradigm of some kind, which just means that there's escalation, right? So inverted combat paradigm normally in something like Kingdom of the Monster, something like that, as you get damaged and as you damage your enemy, you weaken and the game, like the stakes are still high because you're getting low on health, but you're weaker and weaker. You can't do your special abilities or whatever. You can't move as well. It's the opposite with the inverted combat diagram. It's literally inverted, right? So instead, you actually get stronger, right? You do like the whole Goku thing. The more you fight, the more you like get pumped up, and same with your enemy. Now, whether that's stats increase, whether that's ability changes or whatever, we don't know. It's not going to be the Triskelion per se, but there's going to be some kind of escalation there. Additionally, we have the hard co-op mechanics. So the hard co-op mechanics in Aeon Trespass Odyssey, if you recall, are where you lay down your different tokens like that essentially help the next person because you're all in this together. And so you can essentially attack and even like purposely miss. You know you're not going to do any damage, but you know what you did do is you laid down some extra accuracy so that the next person who has a slow lumbering hammer that doesn't hit very often but hits hard, well, they can use that accuracy that you gave them to be able to now actually land that hit and smack that guy or that Panzer Dragon to Kingdom Come. So that's kind of the hard co-op, and that's going to be there. There's going to be some more stuff there. Again, we can talk about that in a little bit. They will also have like bosses. So you'll get like the kind of singular bosses. You're going to get that boss battler, but they're going to have mobs too. So it's not just going to be boss battles. It's going to be more, there's going to be mobs as well. You can think of mobs as something like you'd see in a dungeon crawler, right? Just these kind of like lots of enemies, but none of them are like this like super crazy advanced AI reactionary kind of, monstrosity that you fight for 3 hours. Instead, you just kind of take them out and they may attack you, you may attack them. And they're so interesting, but there's just more of them and it's not that kind of singular focus on a boss. Additionally, they're going to have a lot of like, weapon looting. They're going to have the weapon crafting. They're going to have all that kind of stuff that you're used to, or that you saw in Aeon Trespass Odyssey. They're going to be keeping a lot of that same stuff. No, that doesn't mean the game mechanics work the same, obviously, but you're going to be looting weapons. You're going to be crafting weapons. So there's looting and crafting and, character progression. All that kind of stuff is there. Okay, so real quick to talk about the hard co-op system. I said I'd kind of get back to that. The co-op system here, it's actually kind of expanded. So you're going to have elemental ones. You're going to have different ailments, a lot of status ailments, a lot of this like magic affinity system is going to be there. So you're going to have, essentially it's a more in-depth thing, and it's not so, just this is what you do. Instead, it's a proper game mechanic that you're going to be utilizing. Okay, now let's talk about some stuff that's different, because there's actually plenty that's different. There's some underlying things that they know they did well in Aeon Trespass Odyssey that they want to kind of continue developing and as a company and all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot different here as well. So first of all, I mentioned how these people are just so unique and fascinating and interesting, and you almost want to know more about them. And that's because it is a more personal story. So in Aeon Trespass Odyssey, it's this grandiose kind of like monolithic quest, right? This world-changing, world-shaping thing where you're fighting as titans. And I mean, if you know the skill difference, here's the person, here's your titan, right? Fighting this gigantic enemy, this primordial crazy stuff. You're negotiating with whole like civilizations and spanning the world on your ship and all that kind of stuff. This is about your knights and kind of their more personal story. So as you play as a knight, you're going to get these kind of story bits that are for them, that are their story. So if you like that more kind of like personal stuff, that's definitely what this is going to dive into. And while it's still going to be like cool and you're going to do amazing things, you're not exactly shaking the world under your feet either. Another thing to kind of note that's a little interesting is you're essentially going through delves. So the word delves here mean that essentially you're going through these places, and instead of like the map tiles in Anthrus Odyssey, you have these tiles that form the area around you. Again, it's much more personal, much more constrained in what you're doing, even though they have these awesome locations like this, right? You're still actually making these tiles. I don't know if you notice this or not, but this is built into tiles as you explore this. So you'll be kind of navigating around that and exploring these tiles in these different kingdoms. And the delve is really a dive into that. Now, there are different kinds of delves. There's some delves that are story related. There are some delves that will actually chain into essentially a chain of quests. But throughout that, you're going to be getting more randomly generated delves, essentially, or ones that, you know, you're going to go for loot, or you're going to go get this, or you're going to go do that, or, you know, talk to this person, or do all this other stuff. And what that allows them to do is still tell a very, concentrated story on the night, that you still get that, while also kind of having more real playability and variety in the game itself, because there's still all these different parts that are more randomized and generated based off of, you know, various things. So, and in fact, they want to keep supporting this game for a long time to come, and they have tons of different story batches they could do, and they could introduce new kingdoms, and there's a lot of potential here. It kind of reminds me a bit of like Aetherfields, where it's like, well, you could just always add another dream, right? We could always just add another kingdom. It's like, now you're delving into this kingdom, and oh look, this kingdom popped up. And so there's a lot of long-term support planned for this. So if that's something you're interested in, it's like high replayability and something that'll come off the shelves for years to come because you're still making stuff, like kind of like another Descent kind of thing. This might be something to look into, because that's certainly some of the ideas that they seem to have. Now I have a few more tidbits, just a few. One of them is the battle board here, if I can find it. The battle board here, most boss battlers have a battle board that you use. This one will have multiple battle boards. I don't know if it's a battle board per kingdom. I think that'd be a smart idea. But it might not be, but it might just be general locations like outside and inside. And I don't know. However, there will be multiple battle boards. I also don't know if it's just an art change or if there's something fundamentally different. Maybe there's a size thing where you're more constrained and it's a smaller area. Maybe one that's not perfectly rectangle. I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll have to find out, but there will be multiple boss battle game boards to look for. And I think that's actually kind of exciting, because normally the variability comes by laying down tiles, but in this case, that's not going to be the only thing you're doing. Additionally, one of the interesting points to note is that these tiles, you're exploring these tiles and something else I don't even know about yet. It was redacted. I don't know what it is. When I find out, I'll let you know, though. One last thing to note is character progression. You're going to have stats that increase, abilities that increase, and jobs. Now, I don't know more about jobs yet. You better believe, though, I will be pestering them about this. When I hear jobs, I think like Final Fantasy Tactics or something like that, where you have these like different, you could be the thief, or you could be the warrior, or you could be the rogue, or you could be the priest, or you could be the white mage, or the black mage, or or the samurai, or the ninja, or all those different like class jobs. I don't know if that's what they're doing. I don't know if it might just be actual jobs, like in crafting, I make this, I do this, or something like that. Maybe like almost like an MMO kind of thing. Don't know yet. Maybe I should just go and do a 9 to 5. Beats me. I don't see Egghead washing too many dishes on his 9 to 5, but who knows what he does. Either way, I suppose that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you liked this little taste, little tease. Obviously, they're so focused on their current game that they're delivering, the Anthrus Odyssey. They're working on that. And then I've just been talking to them and pestering them about this and wanting to do a video to share with you guys, just so we have a very high level look at what we might be getting into. So if this is interesting to you at all, and you want me to keep pestering for more information, let me know in the comments below. Seriously, otherwise I don't know if that's what you want or not. Again, leaving a like on the video also helps me know that. I just need to know what you guys want from this. I'm pretty interested because, again, anything that has this, and this, and this interests me a lot, because that is darn unique of a setting. That is something else. So, anyway, that's all I had. Thanks so much for watching. I will talk to you guys again very, very soon. I actually got some Limbo Eternal War miniatures to show off, so I'll be showing that off soon, as well as some Darkest Dungeon details. I'll be doing a detailed video just like this on Darkest Dungeon, where you guys can get some information on that, and plenty more to come. So Thank you so much for sticking around. Additionally, if you notice my shirt, I will be doing a video on Make Games Not Campaigns. Join the movement and let's make a change for the better in this industry and really focus on what's important. That's the games, not the campaigns. All right. I'll let you go after that. Take care. Bye.